I find myself unable at the moment to look beyond 2026.
Wow. Interesting.
We'll then emerge into a different state of consciousness. Our capacity for advanced and accelerated intuition, empathy, compassion, and the ability to be able to sense what's really going on is going to become 3 or 4 times as strong as it is now. A lot of people aren't going to be able to make the required changes.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Thank you, Steve, for making the time to do this today. For everybody who doesn't know Steve, he is not only my personal astrologer for years and my teacher. He's been an astrologer for more than 40 years. He wrote some great books. We're going to talk about it as well. And he has an MA in cultural astronomy and astrology, right? So very experienced practitioner in astrology. So thank you, Steve, for coming. I really appreciate it. Not only that I gain much of knowledge from Steve, I gain a bunch of friends. So we as Steve students, we meet every week and talk about astrology. And I made some grand friendships. And I'm so happy about it. So it's been a great journey. Thank you very much. So what are you doing? Are you still having new students?
God, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Last night I finished the aspect section of the beginner's module, and now next week I'm starting the intermediate. And there was only about 50 this time on the beginner's module, so I'm not going to run it again this year. I'll leave it for a year or 2.
Okay.
And on the intermediate, I would normally expect half the people to drop off. So I would only have expected 20 or 25. But I've got about 30, 35 people doing the intermediate. And what's really interesting is that a few weeks ago I mentioned that from the last group, there's about 12 to 14 people who saw it all the way through to the very end. And then they formed this group of astrological students where they meet every week.
Yeah.
And they've christened themselves with a name that I personally can't stand. Right.
We are Judders.
Okay. And so immediately a lot of my students now when they say, oh, can I join that group?
Mm-hmm.
You have to wait until you finish the advanced course. And then I'll put you in touch with the others.
Yes.
No point in them joining now because I only know half of what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
not stuff around the mapping or the synastry transits. That's what's to come.
We are learning so much from each other and helping each other, going through current transits and what is happening in each other's lives. Beautifully, beautiful.
I am so impressed. I am really surprised because when I cut you loose, when I stuck with you for 2 or 3 sessions. Just listening.
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought, I can't do this anymore. I've got other things I've got to do. I've got to make some money. So I cut you loose and I thought, okay, probably 3 or 4 of them will stick it out and get it together. But to hear that all of you have just kept your meetings together. And this is people from many different countries, a number of different continents.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you all.
Oh, thank you. We had really great teacher. The way you teach, it's really, down to the point, simple, for everybody to understand, not many mumbo jumbo astrological talk. You have all this astrological jargon that people get lost. This is, very practical. On another note, why I have you here today, I would really love to hear your insights of what is currently happening astrologically in the sky. Where do you see the world coming? What is going on in the world? And where do you see astrology? What is the future of astrology?
So there's 2 questions.
Yes.
The first question is what's going on in the world?
Yeah.
You're looking immediate, short term, medium term.
I'm thinking what in your opinion is important to make a note of currently in the next couple of years, or what are we what can we expect from what is happening? What can we expect from the world? Because there's so many things going on today, but what, in your opinion, is the most important thing that we maybe should just pay attention to?
Just for the benefit of your listeners, okay. This book is called An Ephemeris. Okay?
Here.
Right. Well, I've got exactly the same one.
Yeah.
That's not the one I use.
Okay.
That's just because it looks pretty.
Yeah.
The one I use.
I'm still not there, but I'm coming there.
What you've got, just for the benefit of your viewers, is a timetable. It's like a bus timetable with the dates of each month down one side and the planets along the top. So you can work out the planet positions. You can know the planetary positions for every day of every month of every year. This is a 50-year one. The one you just showed is a 100-year one. So that's like a bus timetable or train timetable. When you work out the planet, you can see where the planets are. You realise that they're always moving in different orbits at different speeds in different ways, and because they are never going to be in exactly the same position with each other again, every moment they're creating a new pattern with each other that is unique and individual. This is why no two horoscopes can ever be the same, even identical twins. There's always going to be a little bit of difference. Some people take books to bed, other people take dictionaries to bed or puzzle games. I used to take the ephemeras to bed because I could see patterns with all the numbers. And for years, I've looked at the patterns both around where we are at that moment in time and then projected forward. So for years, I was looking forward to 1999. Then I was looking forward to the Grand Cross of 2012. Then years ago, I was looking forward to the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction in Capricorn a few years ago. And it's quite scary when I look back now and see what I wrote in 2014 about that time.
I remember, yeah. I was one of your first followers from 2011. When you started your YouTube, I was one of the first who followed everything you were saying, and I got excited about 2020. Now I'm excited about 2026 as well.
Well, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to read a paragraph from my last book, which is just being reprinted. We'll come to the books in a bit.
Yep.
From the very last paragraph of the last book I wrote, I'm talking about the escalation and the acceleration of consciousness and evolution from an astrological perspective, particularly regarding Pluto. I wrote, when this hypothetical exponential graph curve of evolution reaches prime vertical, only one of two things can happen. The pace of acceleration can become unsustainable. The pathway of the curve turns in on itself, resulting in a sudden crash and the whole process beginning again, this time in the opposite direction to the past. In this eventuality, a dystopian future of a soulless population living on processed food, chemical drugs, antibiotics, and endless superficial media in an increasingly polluted environment will only lead to a mass pandemic. I wrote this in 2014, about 2020. I also, the next sentence said, alternatively, the exponential curve can do the opposite and exceed the parameters of the graph, leading to a greater symbiosis with the Earth, an advancement into the emerging soft technology in a way that embodies spirituality as opposed to the mechanist attitudes of the old hard technology. I wrote that in 2014. So, and that's kind of scary when I look back on it. And now we're past that. And I have to ask myself, did we learn the lessons of the last few years? In certain ways, yes, but primarily
no. Yeah.
Now I'm looking forward to the big one. When Pluto into Aquarius, Saturn and Neptune together into Aries, and Uranus into Gemini, all the big four planets, all the slowest moving planets, all moving from the feminine into the masculine side, all within a year or two of each other, leading to a point in the future where there's going to be, it's the biggest period of concentrated and compressed change that there's ever been from an astrological perspective. This something like this would have happened before many thousands of years ago, but then we weren't aware of the existence of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So the archetypes that they represent, particularly around self-awareness, one's own psychology and things like that, we weren't knowledgeable. We're still living in the fields and, you know, going to church on Sundays, doing things like that.
Yeah.
But there's never been a time like this. And I find myself unable at the moment to look beyond 2026.
Wow. Interesting. And you always look ahead. Interesting.
So caught up in what's coming up in the nearish future these days.
Do you feel that the changes are going to be much faster and more condensed than before?
Very much so. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to make the required change. One of my catchphrases that I use with students is that if you study astrology long enough and you become aware of its strengths, then it's the people who know when you study astrology as opposed to the rest of the people, or most of the rest of the people, it's the difference between human beings and humans being.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's a play on words, but the approaching cataracts of time, the nodal points, the acceleration into the rabbit hole, into the minute little aperture that's approaching rapidly towards us, forcing us to compress ever more sharper, finer, refined as we get towards that point of transcendence. Most of us who get through that, and I hope I'm one of them, will then emerge into a different state of consciousness where we will obviously still retain identity, individuality, sense of self. Nothing will change on the surface, but our capacity for advanced and accelerated intuition, empathy, compassion, and the ability to be able to sense what's really going on with each other, with all the animals, with the planet, is going to become 3 or 4 times as strong as it is now. The other option is that we will all end up becoming cyborgs.
Where does AI come into all this?
I did a big video on astrology and AI a few days ago.
Yes, I saw that.
I never meant to do it. It was just one of my partners said something to me. I just thought, oh, right, do a video, cool. And then that video was unplanned, unprepared, straight from the heart.
It was good.
I don't remember a word of what I said, but I know I stand by it 100%.
Yeah.
Where does AI come into this? It would be very easy for me to fall into the, oh my God, computers are going to take over everyone and humans are going to be wiped out. No.
Yeah.
At the same time, without the emerging soft technology, what's the point of evolution? Bearing in mind the damage that we have done to this planet just in the last 150 years.
Yeah.
It is now irreversible, or the reversing of it is going to take thousands of years. Yeah, so how do we do it? What do we do? Do we just die as a species because the air and the water is becoming more and more toxic? Do we continue to live on ever increasingly processed food, artificial media, hype spin, whilst the remaining elitist power centers become ever more fewer and fewer as they gorge on themselves? Or do we take on board the emerging technology and work with it? I can see a situation where I'm not talking about downloading consciousness. I'm not talking about us becoming machines. But I do feel that there's a space and a capacity and room for melding and merging with AI in the future. Not quite cyborg, not like the Jack Club, not like a software download consciousness, but some type of interface.
Integration of, yeah.
Whether it be with the glasses that can not only augment our reality, but also read our own feelings. But more likely, I feel, it's some type of way that's going to not only help our brains intuit and telepathically link with other, but also some type of enhanced intelligence form that's going to make us more self-aware and realise what's really happening on this planet. And that's my hope for AI, that it's going to boost the intelligence and make people sit up and go, wait a minute, I don't want McDonald's anymore, I want organic food. I don't like what's happening to my air and to my water and to the animals. And I think the majority of people are going to stand up and start thinking, well, do I just want lots more money at the expense of everything else? Or do I want to care about what's happening to my family, my friends, my family?
Yeah.
I might sound like an outdated hippie like that, but I'm putting my hopes on this type.
I also believe that this Saturn Pisces now, it's maybe gonna make us reassess our belief system. You know, what do we actually...
Very much so. We're seeing an acceleration of the ruination of the earth. And Saturn in Pisces is... I do associate Pisces with the environmental situations. And I know that there will be a conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in early 26 at 0 degrees of Aries, at the very, very start of the zodiac. This has never happened in our consciousness. The last time Saturn conjuncted Neptune would have been, oh goodness, you've got to multiply 164 by about 10. So at least 1,000 years ago. And Neptune wasn't discovered then. We had no idea of words like spirituality and the other things that Neptune stands.
Yes. So what you're saying is, for people, the only way to prepare is to embrace the change, because and the unknown. We won't know when it's coming, right? And hope for the best. I do believe. I'm a great optimist that it's going to be for the better.
Another way of looking at this. When I was born in the mid-1950s, there were 2.1 billion people on Earth. And now 8.
You know, crazy.
Imagine quadruple since I've been alive. At the same time, technology's gone from when I was a kid to these little wooden boxes with black and white moving screens, one per apartment block, to downloading everything. So technology has kept up with the acceleration of population, but so has spirituality.
Yes. What I've seen good from the pandemic, for example, is this rise of astrology. Like they call it the Renaissance for astrology, which I love. There's always downsides because there are a bunch of people now but practicing and doing, but I think it's very good because I think that's how we also raise our consciousness and awareness with learning astrology, right? So I think it's a good...
Astrology and the internet were made for each other.
Yeah, that's what
I had my first email in 1998. I had my first website in 2001. And by that time, I'd been studying astrology already for about 25 years. So I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. When you look at the history of the internet, the two most searched things on the internet are astrology and pornography.
I know, right? That's well, it's passion, let's say. Before we go on, I just want another recent event that is coming up next year, very, very soon. It's the Uranus and Jupiter conjunction in April next year. So that's major. What do you feel? What's going to be?
I'm seeing that in so many of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, I said to my students the other night, anybody fortunate enough to have the sun, moon, ascendant, or midheaven at 20, 21, 22 degrees of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, that last 10 days of April next year has the potential to be monumental. And it should be very good as long as we're intelligent enough not to let the hype and spin take over. It is possible that this could be a very explosive combination.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean explosive in terms of bombs or warfare, but I mean explosive in that a number of people may find themselves getting into situations which rapidly escalate and become crises instead of drama and go way over the top. But the intelligent people at that time will go, right, so I think opportunities here. Let's take the top 15% instead of the top 90%, because then we know we'll be successful. And that's intelligence.
Be more selective. I like that.
Very intelligent. Mm-hmm. People think it's intelligent to have a Mercedes or a Porsche on the front or on the front drive. No, that's just smart. Intelligence is very different to cleverness or smartness.
I remember what you taught us about Jupiter, especially because he's in this conjunction. As you get older for people, but as you mature and you're more aware, you go for quality, not quantity. So always think about that. And this is a perfect thing to actually go for quality, not quantity next year. That's how I feel.
But when you look at it from a planetary perspective, when Uranus moved into Taurus, it was the acceleration into the real world of crypto. And for a few years, we were right, it's the end of old money now. It's the end of the banking system, because with crypto, all transactions are public and there are no bankers. Now, crypto's taken a hammering in this last year. But with Jupiter hitting Uranus in Taurus, which after all deals with value and work, resources, materials, possessions, assets, money. So I do expect some type of financial and or economic blip at that time. Whether it'll be a crash or whether it'll be a rapid expansion, I don't know. But sensible people will not go to extremes.
Yeah, that's very important. Be smart, people. Yeah, think about a long run, because that's what Taurus is about. It's a long run, not quick, right? So that's what it is. Awesome. Okay, I think that's enough information for people to understand what's happening recently. Where do you see astrology? Where do you see... Okay, please. Yes.
And how quick this video gets out. But in the next 10 to 12 days, we have this big Mars opposite Saturn.
Yeah, okay.
And there's going to be a few buttons getting pushed worldwide around that over the coming week. I think it's exact around about the 21st, 22nd.
Your next week. Next week is crazy. From the new moon, the whole week is crazy next week. So, as you say, buckle up. Always remember. Yeah, because there's nodes are involved, and Pluto squaring the nodes and moon, and it was anyway. And then Saturn. Yeah, it's a lot of things next week. So. I think video should go out soon this weekend, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay, we are halfway there through our interview. Thank you. Let's just quickly, your thoughts about where do you see astrology in the future? Where is the place of astrology in the world?
In all honesty, no limits. When I started teaching, when I started studying astrology, I immediately realized the potential of it. Back in the 70s and the early 80s. And I said at that time, if astrology was taught in school, within 2 generations, we'd see not only an end to organised religion, but we'd also see an end to warfare all over the world, because everyone would know themselves and to each other. And we'd naturally form into collective tribes based on the synergy and the synastry between us. And this is probably the basis of the old legends and mythology of the 12 tribes, regardless of what culture or religion you belong to. Now we've got the internet, and all of a sudden I find myself teaching astrology, which is great. And I've achieved my life's ambition with this. And now astrology is becoming more and more the new lingua franca of the emerging spiritual consciousness revolution. Nowadays you've got comedians on stage. Yes. Oh yeah, read the week this week. Oh, must be murder adventure.
Yeah.
And you're all millennials. They don't just know their sun sign, they know their ring sign, and they're astounded that.
Yeah.
And it's entering the common parlance. It's entering the common consciousness. So I'm really pleased. And you can't stop it now. You can't ban it now. It's too widespun. It's too much out there in the world. So it's inevitable that astrology is going to become probably the main tool of personal growth and self-development over the emerging next couple of 100 years, parallel with, alongside, and twinned with psychology.
Absolutely. And I feel that it's getting us in tune with nature, because we need to learn about cycles of moon, cycles of planets, and we are going back to nature, because we forgot that. We forgot what is moon about, what is sun about, what is this, we are connected. And I think that's a beautiful thing, going back to that connection with the universe.
There's an emerging strong school of thought, which has always been there, but now is expanding rapidly, that you chase all religions, theologies, dogmas back. The sun has always been the god and the moon has always been the goddess.
Yeah.
That's got me the oldest. Even the Neanderthal man worshipped the sun and moon as god and goddess.
Yeah.
So, and that's going back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. Good. So hopefully we'll see next generations having astrology in schools. We all hope for that.
It's already in Steiner schools and Montessori schools. They're teaching it. I've got teachers as clients.
Isn't that beautiful? I have a 3-year-old son, and he knows already what the full moon, how it looks, what does the new moon look like. It's beautiful, and astrology is a great tool, really, for understanding each other and to have better relationships with everybody around ourselves. The understanding, that's beautiful. I want to also mention your books, which I have both copies. I know those are first editions, and they're signed by you. So this is going to be worth a lot one day.
Right. The Bedroom Astrologer has now been completely rewritten and is out.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to...
New section.
Yeah. Here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, that's the one. That was written in 2014 before the New Horizons probe actually landed at Pluto. So what you don't know is that in this last 6 months, I've completely rewritten that book, and I've added another 5,000 to 10,000 words at the end, based on the discoveries from the New Horizons probe and how that works, not only astronomically, so astrologically and psychologically. And just got the cover, proofs of a new cover yesterday, and it'll be out by the end of September.
Amazing.
That's brilliant. And then I've got 2 more books in the offing. I've got about 50,000 words down already on Mercury, and I am writing, I hope it'll be my life work. There's 2 other books in plan. One, I've got 10,000 words written down. It's not got a title yet, but it's going to be, I hope, the follow-up to Planets in Transit, because it was Love Robert Hand's book. It's now at least 40 years old.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff I've been teaching, there's so much information now. I just got to get it into a book.
I love it. I love these 2 books. Well, Pluto is my favorite because I have it in the first house, and I love Pluto. So this actually book helped me to understand myself better, because one of the first books I read. And then this one is so hilarious. I will put the link below on the video. It's amazing. It's so funny.
15 years ago, I thought, right, I'm in my mid-50s. I need to make some money. How am I going to live when I'm old? I know. So what's the 2 most common things on the internet? So astrology. Right. So I wrote the Bedroom Astrologer to make for my pension.
That's why this is very unique, guys. So this is really, really unique kind of a book, and I love it.
Part of it that's really serious.
No. There is a bunch of serious. Yeah. No, there's always a serious of everything. Astrology is, I take it very serious, the astrology, So there's a great amount of knowledge, but on a Uranian way, kind of written. So I like it, kind of a different. Outside of the box book, I love it. I'm very, very looking forward to the Mercury one. I know you talked about it before, and I was waiting for it.
Basic plague, you're a bit of boosting myself here. Signed copies are available directly from me.
Awesome. Yeah, because everybody who doesn't, I will put the links below, the links to Steve's website and YouTube and everything, so you can go and check out his work, and where you can teach from him, learn from him, learn from him, buy books, and get the signed copies. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. Right? That's a great offer. Awesome. Do you wish to share anything else with humans, with us humans who are just craving to know more and learn more about astrology and how we can implement it in our lives? As a final thought.
Yeah, there is one thing.
Yes.
And it's simple, it's easy, but it's the most important thing I've ever learned about astrology. It took me 40 years to learn it. People don't find astrology. Astrology finds people. And if you get that, you realise that astrology is not an it. Astrology is alive. It has valence, life force, and it chooses who it wants to work with. And once I realised that made me reassess all of my old ideas around death and birth. Consequently, I've come to the conclusion that death, as we understand it, is an imposed system of control by the dogma, theology, religions, and corporations over thousands of years to keep us down. The death doesn't actually exist. It's just a transition of consciousness to a different dimension where there is no time as we understand it. And when you die, you get to where you're going, and all your old friends and all your old family members, there's a big party waiting for you.
Absolutely.
It's just the next step.
Absolutely.
That doesn't exist.
No, I'm also a believer of that. But you have to make the best of what you're doing now, you know? Seize the day. Carpe diem. I always have that.
I've got Saturn sitting on my shoulder. It's a skeleton with a side and a cowl. And he's just looking at me right now and going, death doesn't exist. So I need to change. I need to say, well, physical death as we understand it, of course it exists.
Yeah.
But consciousness, soul, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any news? I know this is off topic, but it's maybe connected. I know you love those field circles in the field that you follow. Do you have anything new? I know it's summertime. Usually there's something happening during the summer, right?
Yeah, they're happening again. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago. Yeah. I share them with all my active students. So there's only been in the UK, there's only been about 12 so far. Normally there's about 20 or 30. So yeah, there's fewer and fewer each year, but they're getting more and more complex and more meaningful. And this is something which has only happened in the last 30 or 40 years. Although there's records of them from the 1500s, periodically they make their presence known. And for everyone who thinks the crop circles are made by aliens or ETs or humans, you're completely wrong. The crop circle makers are indigenous to this planet, but they live in a different dimension where time, pattern, resonance and harmony are the basic rules. And they keep teaching us these formations in mathematical perfect forms that invoke harmony, love, passion to try and get us to escalate our consciousness.
I love that. I love it. And I love how they evolve into more complexity. It's beautiful.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention it because I think it's connected with these changes that are coming up. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Steve. This was beautiful. I appreciate your time and knowledge and everything you did for everybody, but especially for us, for who are your students. We feel very honored and happy to have the privilege to learn from you. That's it.
Nice.
Thank you. Bye.